Whether you take this as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, or just a person in general, all of us have something that differentiates us. And for those who are new, my name's Lawrence. I'm a youth empowerment speaker. Or in other words, I've spent the last 4 years specializing in helping teens and young adults build self-love, confidence, and a positive outlook on life. And there's a lot of people who are youth empowerment speakers. Like, there's a lot of them out there. But what makes me different? Simple. I talk about the stuff that other people are not willing to talk about. Y'all have seen me cry on camera before. Y'all know about the most gut wrenching, painful moments of my life. If you just watch the video I put up yesterday, I was crying in that. I was talking about feeling worthless and my life growing up and getting bullied until the age of 11 and not having friends. And y'all know everything about me. And something I find is that people, they want you to see the good side. They want to portray, look at me now. I'm up on stage. I got my award. I got my trophy. I made it to the finish line. Look at me now. But they don't want to talk about them painful nights when they was set up crying into their pillow. Don't nobody want to talk about that. But I talk about that because I know there's people who need to hear that sort of stuff. There's people who relate to that. There are people who need to know it can get better. And I'm an example that it can get better. Because now at the age of 19, not only am I a speaker, not only have I made a career for myself with digital products, speaking, as well as my books, Power to the People, get it on Amazon. Get it on Amazon. Link in the description. But also the fact that I just give hope to people. The money is great. I love the support. But the real reward in all of this is when I wake up to people DMing me stuff like, man, this video really helped me. Man, keep posting the content. Or other times when I get more heartfelt messages of people telling me about they used to be addicts or they were going through this thing at home. And my video helped them to realize that there's hope, that things can get better. And I feel as though we often try to be what the world wants. We try to talk about the 5 best tips to become more confident, which I do make those sorts of videos too. But what I really enjoy and what I really find value in is the sort of stuff where I go deep, where I really give people an honest look into my life, into how I got better, where I've been, and where I'm going. Because where you have been does not need to define where you will go. Yes, when you were younger, your family might have done something to you. You may have been hurt in a certain way. Somebody might have touched you. But that did not need to define the rest of your life. And I'm saying this as somebody who has done it, as somebody who was able to make a change. And the way that you go about making that positive change for yourself can be different than how I did. My way doesn't have to be your way. You don't have to go up on a stage and tell everybody about your traumas. You don't need to do what I do. You might not even need to use the methods I did. Maybe therapy isn't the way for you. Maybe journaling isn't the way for you. Maybe exercising and fishing and outdoor events isn't the way for you. But try it and see if it works. Give it a month. Give it a month. And if you don't see benefits, find what works for you in a healthy way. Things I obviously suggest, like I said, journaling, exercise, therapy if you can afford that or if you feel inclined to try it. Other things, meditation, breath work, socializing with people, outdoor events, get some sunlight. Find what works for you. And also find ways to remind yourself that you are valuable. As simple as it sounds, start off by making your bed. Because if you spend 8 hours in your bed, which is the usual amount that you're supposed to sleep, then that's 1/3 of your life So you live to be 100 years old. 33 of those years and some decimal points will be spent in your bed. I would assume you'd want to be in a clean area because a messy bed probably is going to lead you to a messy room. And a messy room leads to a messy car. And a messy car leads to a messy life. And if you don't have a car, you could just skip that part. But your bed is where you lay. Where you lay is where you are at your most vulnerable, most asleep. That's the simple way of putting it. You are asleep there. And if you're asleep in the trash, if you're asleep in the dirt and the dirty clothes and mess, your life will more than likely end up becoming a mess because you spend 1/3 of your day in a mess. And your room, you're going to spend a lot of time in your room. And that's going to transfer into your life, into your habits, and into your entire house. And the takeaway I really want to give from this is just be you. We have so many people who are trying to imitate others. We have so many people who are trying to be the next David Goggins or the next Tony Robbins or the next whoever you look up to, bodybuilder or multi-millionaire or whatever. But be you because the thing that sets you apart is you. It's not that you need to do something different or be something different. No, by being yourself, you will stand out. By putting yourself out there, by just consistently showing up, you will stand out. Whether that be in entrepreneurship, or whether it be in a business, or in the job market, or relationships, or family, by being yourself, you give others the opportunity to find you because they're not looking for the next David Goggins or the next Tony Robbins. They're looking for the one and only Lawrencecharris, the one and only you. And what I really believe is that in a world that's so full of people trying to be something and someone that they're not to try and get the approval of others, the most bold thing you can be is what you already are. Be yourself. As cheesy of a message as it is, you can look at this through any lens. There's a lot of content out there, telling men, okay, here's what you need to do to get a girlfriend. And some of it is valid, be hygienic, be confident, speak to people, dress nicely, smell good. These are really great things. But then there's other stuff like, oh, you need to wait 3 hours to text back. You need to do this and do that. And unfortunately, a lot of people are led astray by that. And let's say you do take this advice and it works. You end up getting the girlfriend. But now you have to constantly keep up this mask and constantly keep up this facade as a way of keeping her. Rather than if you were just yourself from the very beginning, there's going to be somebody out there who likes your weird jokes. There's going to be somebody out there who likes the way you keep your hair. There's going to be somebody out there who likes your Pokemon shirt. Yeah, there might be less people, but there's somebody. And you don't need the approval and validation of the entire world. You just need the validation and approval of yourself and of God. And that's something I have been realizing more and more in my life. I've been realizing that for quite a long time, I was trying to be what the world wanted. I was trying to be what others would gravitate towards and enjoy. But once I just started being me, once I just started hopping on the camera and not thinking about it so much and not overly trying, that's when my words just flow and I'm just in the moment. And with that said, I want to close out with this. By being yourself, you're already enough. By being yourself, your people will find you. It may take a while. It may be difficult, but it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, you can know these people like me for me. They don't like me for what I portray myself as. They don't like me for what I show myself as. They like me for me. The people who buy my books, they support me because they support me. They realize the value that I'm giving and they support me financially in that way. Whether that's through my books, link in the description, whether that's through one-on-one consultations where they pay for advice, link in the description, or in a more big sense, people such as school principals and podcast hosts and people who own youth organizations who bring me in as a speaker, email address below, that supports me financially as well. And when people leave testimonials and reviews, my speeches and on my videos, and they're liking and commenting and subscribing, hit those buttons. It helps me to grow my page, which ultimately helped me to grow my reach and audience, which ultimately helps me to support myself and support the work that I do for others. And I hope that you have a wonderful, blessed day. Have a good one.